What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with a Monday Seattle Seahawks video. I'm going to do a video probably about not every day of the week for the Seahawks, but going to be a lot of Seahawks content. The Mariners content is not going anywhere. My post game will be up later tonight for the Mariners and the Angels game, and I'll be live with Rooftop tomorrow for Mariners Angels game number 2. So that's not going anywhere. It's not channel's not switching over, but there's a lot of Seattle stuff to talk about. So we're going to be covering a lot of Seahawks on this channel as well. Before I get started, you guys do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on the video. Both just help me out tremendously, helps the channel grow. And if you want to think about becoming a channel member, we do members only live streams once a week. You guys will have access to my betting picks for the week for the NFL, although that may be something you don't want, so I don't know, that's totally up to you. And then once a month, we do members only streams with a giveaway in there as well. So a lot of fun stuff. Think about becoming a channel member. Title of this video says it all. I've got my coffee with me this morning. We're going to chill and we're going to have a silver linings and cope video. So if you're not looking for any of that, and you know, that's totally fine. This may not be the video for you. Completely understand staying negative about this one. I stand by everything I said yesterday. This was a awful, awful loss for the Seattle Seahawks. And I want to be very clear. These silver linings are going to be very stretched. Like, I'm looking for anything, guys, to get me through it. There's 16 weeks left. I'm not going to throw away a season after one game. I can't do it. If you can, like, more power to you. You're probably going to avoid more heartbreak than the rest of us. But I can't. If this was week 8 and they were 1-7, then yeah, like, we can start talking about what this team needs to address in the offseason and everything. But it's one game. I get it. It's not, a lot of people tell me it's not just one game. My point about saying that is that it's certainly very, very disappointing, but no team is defined by one game in a season. There's a lot of unknown. There is a chance with McVay, Stafford healthy, and Aaron Donald healthy, and I guess we're already getting into the coping here, so this would be the coping section of the video. There's a chance this Rams team might not be that awful. I think the coaching is good enough to keep this team at maybe 6 wins or so for the Rams. Sean McVay is that good. He had this team hanging in there with games with John Walford at quarterback. I don't think they're going to be good. They deserve a lot of credit for yesterday for their win. I didn't want to sound like I was taking anything away from them yesterday either. So there's a chance for that and everything. So I'm not throwing a season away that's got 16 games left. Like, I can't do it. Am I super disappointed? Oh my gosh, yes. Am I worried? Absolutely, I am worried. But I'm not going to throw it away after one game. I can't do it. I can't. I thought coming into this season, this team was going to compete. Maybe, I don't know how far. There was a lot of prognosticators that had this as a team winning the NFC West. There are people that had it. It's not hard to find people that took Seattle to win the West. I think most people minimum had them as a wild card team. And then a few had them out of the playoffs. But for the most part, I would say 70% of the NFL picks I saw had this team making the playoffs this season. If you thought coming into this year that this team was a playoff team and was a really good team, to be dead honest, you probably should not change your opinion too much on that. 1 week of football, as I said a couple minutes ago, does not define a season. If you believed this team was really good, why change it after one game? Again, this is the cope part. I actually think there's a lot of reasons to change it after watching how they played yesterday. If you want to counter that, you don't need to in the comments. Listen, the counter would be, this was probably in a year with a very tough schedule for Seattle, there was not a lot of clear winnable games. This was probably one of the few. The Arizona games, the Rams, there's a few others in there, maybe Washington, some stuff like that were clear-cut winnable games. And they've already lost one of them. This team has to go to Cincinnati, Detroit, Baltimore, Tennessee. You got to play San Francisco twice, Dallas, Philly. Cleveland looks much improved. You got to play Cleveland. Carolina, I would maybe put more in that winnable category, but that's a team that beat you up last season. So, yeah, like that's another reason this is a really, really bad loss. Because this was one of the few games looked at and went, yeah, we should probably check that as a W. Obviously a big mistake, but it was certainly in that category. I'll maintain, I think Seattle had the worst loss of anybody yesterday. I really do. That includes the Giants. The Giants lost to a Dallas. First of all, the Giants got kind of bombarded by Dallas. Like, Dallas had a blocked field goal return for a touchdown, a couple interceptions. I'm not taking away Dallas dominated that game, but the Giants got kind of just blitzkrieged by Dallas. Seattle didn't really, it's not like Seattle fumbled 3 kickoffs and gave the Rams good field position, and the Rams just took off, went up 20-0, and Seattle couldn't recover. In fact, Seattle outplayed them in the first half, I thought. And then just the second half adjustments were not there for the Seahawks. So it wasn't like Seattle just kind of went on some fluky turnover spree. Rams took advantage, and that was it. They just kind of carved them up. A couple people mentioned the Bengals. I think Cleveland's going to be a pretty competitive team this year, especially if Watson is again back to previous years Deshaun Watson. I think Cincinnati's going to be fine. Maybe Minnesota would be the one team that I'd actually say had a worse loss than Seattle, just because I have a lot more respect for Sean McVay and his staff than Todd Bowles and his. But I'd actually argue the Bucs roster might be a little more talented. But if Stafford's back healthy, I think Stafford's better than Baker. So that might be the only team that might be in as much misery as Seattle fans. So enough with that. See, I can't even do silver linings and coping because of how frustrating this game was. But let's try and do it. I talked, let's just get into it. First silver lining is kind of what I talked about. It is one game. Maybe they bounce back and beat Detroit next week. Do I think they're going to? Not necessarily. But weird things happen in the NFL. Week 1 is called overreaction week for a reason. It is. Teams have clunkers all the time. And then like I said, we don't know about teams. Maybe the Rams are okay. Now, that's actually probably not good news for Seattle in the West, but you know what I mean. We may look back on this in 6 weeks and go, the Rams are actually a little bit better than we thought. Seattle's played better since. If Seattle can bounce back and beat Detroit, I'm willing to forgive this game to an extent. So I don't think that's going to happen, but crazier things have happened. So that's the first silver lining is it is one game. It is. You don't need to tell me, it's more than that. I get it. But in the whole total of the season, it is one game. Number 2, I thought the run defense looked a lot better. And it just didn't look like they were getting lucky and the Rams weren't running the ball well. I do think you're going to face better running back duos than Williams and Akers the rest of the season. But Cam Akers had 22 carries for 29 yards with a long of 12. Take that away, and that's 21 carries for 17 yards. They really shut down Akers. Williams was a little more successful, 15 for 52, but his long was 9. So he didn't really allow any explosive runs defensively. I thought Jaron Reed made an impact in the run game. I actually thought Jaron Reed played a pretty good game. Of all the Seahawks, after going back and watching it, I'm not going to give anybody a 5-star performance, but I thought Jaron Reed played pretty well. And he actually had a couple times where he looked competent as a pass rusher. Nobody had a good game rushing the passer. I know ESPN released their pass rush win rates, and Jaron Reed, Boye Mafe, and Darrell Taylor all graded out well. And that's awesome. I hope that is a sign of things to come. But I did not think they looked good. Maybe the rest of the league was just that bad that they graded out okay. I don't know. But from going back and watching it again from what I saw, none of them were very impressive. There was a couple plays like, okay, they got some decent play, but nothing crazy. Now, the problem is, and the run, like I said, the run defense looked better. I thought Jaron Reed played well. I thought Bobby Wagner, Jordan Brooks played well against the run. We'll get into Bobby a little bit against the pass, where I think, I don't even need to get into it. I thought Bobby Wagner was picked on big time. The passing chart of Stafford showed it. Watching the game again, it showed it. Everything was over the middle. Bobby Wagner played poor, and Julian Love played really poor as well, which is kind of surprising for me. Now, it's frustrating that the run defense plays better and the pass defense takes a you-know-what. And that's where the criticism of this coaching staff needs to start. It's almost as if they sell out to fix something, but then it diminishes another thing. They get better at defending the pass, but then they can't stop the run to save their lives. They get better at stopping the run, and then the pass defense can't make a stop to save their lives. It is possible to be good at both phases. Not asking them to be top 10 at both of them, but, it is possible to be not 5th in run defense and 29th in pass defense, or 5th in pass defense and 29th in run defense. And I think it's if you're worried about the roster, I think it's one of the foundational problems. I think they've got a lot of rotational players. And again, this could be overreaction too. So much for silver linings. I'm diving back into negativity. But there's a lot of one-trick ponies. Darrell Taylor's a good pass rusher, not great against the run. Boye Mafe hopefully can develop some pass rushing skills. Haven't seen it a ton yet. Stout against the run. Jaron Reed, decent run stuffer. He's got some pass rush. It was even the problem last year. Al Woods, great run stuffer, can't rush the passer. Quentin Jefferson, okay pass rusher, can't stop the run. Like, there's just too many one-trick ponies on that D-line. I know some people are going to bring up Jalen Carter, and if you want to, fine. Jalen Carter dominated in his first game as an Eagle. So if you want to, bring it on. I'm not going to criticize anything yet till I see what Devin Witherspoon can do on the field, but it does seem like the defense has a lot of one-trick ponies. But regardless, the run defense looked legit. I think it can be a fairly stout run defense, which is good. It's better than what we saw last year. That's nice. Bobby Wagner, Jordan Brooks looked good against the run. They didn't look good against the pass. Now, Jordan Brooks, I don't know as much, but Bobby Wagner for sure. I thought Kenneth Walker ran the ball well. I thought Walker looked solid. It's a Rams run defense I don't think is going to be very good, so I don't know to the extent of that. But 12 carries, 64 yards, long of 15. I did not see a lot of lost yards on carries. That was one of Kenneth Walker's problems earlier in the year last year. He was kind of very boom and bust. We'd have some big plays, but then there'd be a lot of negative carries. And ever since that Chiefs game, when apparently Pete or somebody talked to him at halftime about it, he has been extremely, extremely good at avoiding losses in the backfield. And I saw that yesterday. Might be the opponent. I don't know. But again, guys, I don't have much to fish for here for silver linings, so I'm going to take a few while they're there. Didn't have Jamal Adams and Devin Witherspoon in this game is the next silver lining. Now, that might be more cope than silver lining. Listen, this defense did not, before you, I know the comments are typing, this is not Devin Witherspoon or Jamal Adams away from fix. Not saying that. What we saw yesterday, Witherspoon and Adams probably don't fix it. Witherspoon, maybe a little bit. If Witherspoon is as good as advertised, I think that Trey Brown looked bad yesterday, I thought. I think that could be a pretty significant upgrade at corner. But that's asking a lot of a player that's never played a snap in the NFL. Devin Witherspoon has not played one down, even preseason in the NFL. So you're asking a lot to be like, hey, this defense is going to be fine because Devin Witherspoon's going to come back. It may be a big boost. I think he's either going to be better on the outside than Trey Brown and better in the slot than Kobe Bryant. I'm not going to lie, I have not been impressed with Kobe Bryant in his year plus in Seattle. I think there's some upside potential. I don't think he was a bad pick. I don't think he's like worthless or anything. But man, Kobe Bryant is just rough. I feel like he's been picked on a lot, and I don't think he played well yesterday. So again, I do think getting Devin Witherspoon back is huge. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. Julian Love can play in the slot. It will help this defense. Do I think that's the difference between Seattle beating the Rams and not yesterday? No. I don't think it's fair to ask a rookie that's never played it down to be the savior. Jamal Adams. Does Jamal Adams help? Yeah, I think he does. I've made it clear I don't think Adams is as bad of a pass defender as people make him out to be. I don't think it's his strength, but I don't think he's the worst pass defending safety in the league. I think he can help with the pass rush a little bit, playing in the box. I think he could play in the slot a little bit, especially if you're going against bigger body tight ends and third wide receivers that aren't as... It probably wouldn't have worked against the Rams because they've got those guys like Tutu Atwell yesterday and Puka, who are more shifty receivers. But, Outwall's fast, but Puka Nacua, is that how you said? Nacua is not super fast either. He's more shifty. Might have been someone Adams could have been okay against. Again, I don't think Jamal Adams makes the difference yesterday, but it is a couple decent players that could be on their way back that can help. It's, again, looking for anything here silver lining-wise. Next silver lining here. I don't expect Jason Myers to miss a lot of 39-yard kicks. That could be one. I thought the offense in the first half looked pretty good. I thought it looked pretty solid. I thought the pass protection looked good. I thought the run blocking looked pretty good. I thought the scripted plays looked good. I thought Geno looked solid. I thought he was a little hesitant. I thought Geno may have almost played very... And I wonder if it was part of them thinking they were just going to kind of beat the Rams and they didn't want to make any stupid mistakes. They didn't, but, well, they made some stupid mistakes. I'll talk about that. But, it just wasn't enough explosiveness. I think they only had one explosive play. The DK Metcalf catch for 28 yards. I think the Walker 15-yard run does count. They do count that as an explosive play, but not a lot there in terms of explosive plays. But I thought the offense in the first half looked pretty solid. And if Myers makes a pretty easy kick, they are up 16-7. And now I know the Rams missed some kicks too, so you can play it both ways. But again, I'm just trying to search for a silver lining here. And maybe, 16 is decent. That's pace for 32 points. The offense kind of fell apart when they lost Cross and Lucas, which the silver lining is, man, we realize how good Charles Cross and Abe Lucas are. The bad news is they might miss some time. Sounds like X-ray's negative on Cross, but it could be like a turf toe thing. You can miss significant time with a turf toe. You can. More so for skill position players that plant on that foot, more than offensive tackles that don't have to quite as much. But it's not possible that Cross misses a few weeks. Abe Lucas, again, sound like just a knee thing that flared up. That's a little concerning, to be honest. Maybe not in short term, it might be okay, but long term, that could be an issue. There's a chance those guys miss some time. It's going to be against Aiden Hutchinson next week. Going to be very tough, because you're going to be asking those tight ends now who have been pass catching weapons to block. And Noah Fant, Will Dissly's a great blocking tight end. But then you take away Will Dissly's ability to, get open, kind of his ability to catch everything that's there. So that's going to hurt you if those guys miss time. But again, the silver lining is you see their value. Another silver lining, and I'm really going to be stretching it here. The team has lost some home openers. I can think of a couple, and they ended up rebounding okay on the seasons. In 99, they lost, I think, 25-10 to a Lions team that was not expected to be very good, was starting Charlie Batch at quarterback. They came into the Kingdome and slapped around the Seahawks in Mike Holmgren's first game. Major difference there is that was Holmgren's first game implementing a new system for the most part into Seattle. This was not, this was Pete Carroll's first game, and I thought that I'd probably be willing to throw it out. It's going to take time for teams to learn things. But this is the same D coordinator, same O coordinator, same head coach this team has had for years. So that analogy of that Lions game doesn't really fit, but it's something. And that team ended up winning the division in 99. Guys, I'm looking for anything. In 1997, they got blitzed by a Jets team that won one game the previous year, 41-3. And there was some hype around that team. Paul Allen just took over. They gave Chad Brown a contract, John Freeze the big contract, and a Jets team that won one game the year before came in and just spanked the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I will say that Jets team went from Rich Kotite to Bill Parcells at head coach. That was probably worth a 5-win improvement just on its own. But a good coach team came in and spanked them, like McVay did yesterday. The next week, the Seahawks got spanked by the Denver Broncos by 21 points. So they sat there in 97 with a negative 59-point differential after 2 games. They went on to go 8-8. Not good enough. They didn't make the playoffs. That's still not good. But they rebounded to have an okay season. Guys, I'm searching for anything again. So I don't need to hear there's nothing. It does have absolutely nothing to do with this. I'm looking for anything. I still think the offense can be explosive. I like the weapons there. DK Metcalf needs to get the temper tantrums under control. It just can't happen. And if you need to take him aside and sit him, then you do it. Because I'm really tired of it. I am really tired of DK Metcalf's extracurricular activities on the field. I'm sorry. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's like, oh, there's DK. Yeah, look at DK doing. No. Nope. It's not acceptable. It's not funny. Do I think they would have lost the game anyways? Yeah. But they turned a 3rd and 2 into a 2nd and 2 into a 4th and 35 with 8 minutes to go down 14. Maybe you get a touchdown on that drive and stop the Rams. Again, the odds were not in their favor, but it certainly killed any chance they had at doing it. Because DK can't keep his temper under control. It's not the first time it's happened. We've seen him lose it in Green Bay, saw him lose it against Tampa last year, and I don't care if it's DK getting inside people's heads. He's not doing it. DK had 3 catches for 47 yards yesterday and a touchdown. Great double move on the touchdown. Love me some DK. Got my DK jersey hanging right over there. Love DK Metcalf. But it's not acceptable. You got to keep that under control, or I'm sorry you can sit for a little bit because you're costing your team more than you're helping. That penalty was probably worth more than some of the catches yesterday, in my opinion. Got to get it under control. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it's not the first time. And I love Pete Carroll's culture because it lets guys be themselves. And that's great. And it has done so much for a lot of people that I don't think would have succeeded in the NFL without Pete Carroll. There are a lot of players like that. I'm not going to go through every name, but I think there's a lot of players that would have been kicked out or booted in other places. And Pete has given them opportunities. And it's one of the things I love about Pete Carroll. But it can't cost you games because it might happen in a game that's 14-14, and you might end up losing that game if you can't keep your cool. You want to be the big guy? Win a football game and make a catch in it. Do what you did against Jalen Ramsey in that game in LA last year. That is how you showboat. You beat him for the game-winning touchdown. Do that. I don't have any more silver linings. I'm not even going to say, better in week 1 than week 7. I actually don't necessarily agree. Because if this was like week 7 and Seattle was 4-2 or something and they lost it, I'd be really mad. But I'd still have enough data to say, like, hey, this has been a good team. I don't right now. Like, I still believe, I do. I believe this team was good coming into the season. I'm not going to change that after a game. But, man, I have nothing to back it up. Even going back to last season, this team in the second half of the year, after the first 8 games, won 4. 2 of those were against a Rams team that started Walford, Baker Mayfield, had no Cooper Kupp and no Aaron Donald. One of them was against a Jets team that started Mike White, who looked like about as injured as any quarterback we've ever faced. And the other win would have been the second Arizona Cardinals game. Not a super impressive second half. First game this year, blown out by a team that I think talent-wise you should be beating. So right now, the evidence kind of points to this team being a little So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully we can bounce back with a better effort in Detroit. I think it will be a better effort. The problem is Detroit's really good. So you can play a good game and still lose to them. And you're sitting at 0-2. So we'll see. That's my silver linings and my cope. I hope it helped you a little bit. I say it on the Mariners video. I'm going to say it here. Take a deep breath. It is one game. It is. And the 2003 New England Patriots, or 2002, was it 03 or 02? The 2003 Patriots came off a year in 02 where they missed the playoffs, went to Buffalo week 1, and got demolished 31-0 by the Bills. Now, the funny thing is all these things I'm talking about were all teams on the road. If Seattle went to LA and lost this game, I'd probably throw it away a little bit more. I just hate that it's at home too. And that Patriots team won the Super Bowl. Not predicting that that's happening here, but there has been success stories of teams that have been beaten up week 1 and turned it around. Hopefully the Seahawks are one of those. Hopefully they are. That's what I'm clinging to. That's what I am. So have a good one, everybody. Just want to make this video real quick in the morning for you guys. I'll have the Mariners post-game recap up tonight as well. Big game for them as they're in a little bit of a funk trying to stave off Toronto. Well, Toronto's past them. Trying to stave off Texas now. Good news for the Mariners is Toronto and Texas play each other tonight. So someone's going to have to lose that game for you. So hopefully the Mariners can take advantage with Logan Gilbert on the mound and get a win. Have a good day, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the game. If you've got any silver linings that I missed, let me know. I need something because I cannot give up on a season after 1 week. I can't do it. I can't sit through 16 weeks of football and not have some hope. So try and have some. Take care, everybody, and have a good one. Go Hawks. Peace.